And hold on a second. Let me see. How do we do this? We
Ah!
removed this guy, and now I got to do this thing, and then click left and shift right, and do all of that good stuff.
Oh,
How you
we'll
doing?
figure out a better way to do that for next
I
week.
I
Hey,
got.
welcome to the show.
Hey man, how you doing? How are you?
I'm hanging in there. It's been a good week. It's been an exciting week, and today was an exciting day in an exciting week.
It actually was a very exciting day. There was quite a few things going on at the like on top of each other, uh, and like kind of like news wise, there was some kind of like I guess like a shindig thing, kind of a press thing going on with one of the venues that we work with, and Android 12 get drops at the same time, like around the same time, and then a little thing kind of landed on a thing that's kind of far away that did something after so many years. So there was a lot of excitement. Let's just say this much.
I mean, best of our week. Do we want to start with Mars?
Dude,
I feel like that's easily in contention for best of our week.
I would totally love to be able to start that conversation just to kind of see how things are. So yes, um, NASA slash JPL. If you guys have not seen it in the news, well, actually, I do want to say first, hello to everybody that's in the chat. Aditya, Gary, the firemen are obviously in the chat. Vascos is in the chat as well.
Vascos, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Always appreciate everybody joining us as well. Mars needs women. Yes, actually, we're
That
working
Mars
on.
needed moms. Isn't that
I think
is
that
there
was the
another thing
name.
that I don't know about Mars with women?
I don't know. Gary wants to send women up there because when the last time we did it, what was it called? Was it man? What was the guy's name? The one that was stranded on Mars for in that movie Martian.
Oh, yeah,
Matt Damon,
Matt Damon.
Senor Damon. We need to send moms. Yeah, no. The landing of such an amazing, like, seriously, that's one of the things. And I just realized my overhead camera was on for no apparent reason. Um, that kind of like that kind of like work is ridiculous. Like if you think about it, right? Like I
Just
was watching
slingshotting a giant robot with a drone on it across our solar system.
with like landing stuff and parachutes and all like automated and is just. And then, at the end, it's kind of weird. Like I was watching the show and I don't know why my mind went that way. But at the end, once it was celebrating, I was wanting to see if anybody was going to do like some chest bumps and kind of like the last time they did it, right? But they were really
High
cool.
power.
Like yeah, fist bump, high five. That's the extent of it. Um, that was a really big, exciting event. I was very excited to hear that it was successful. Just to see the excitement on them, and of course, everybody on the social media and everything like that was following it. But the fact that we can actually, be at home, be stuck, but that at the same time keep track of something going on a separate planet, and that it's purely magic the way you think about it, but it's automated, right? They're not controlling it, and they're having to weigh in factors, problems, errors, mistakes, and this just shows the innovation that they're able to do. And the folks over at JPL, which surprisingly is actually not that far from where I am, that's the really exciting part about it, is very, very nice. So
like right in your backyard, just shooting robots up to Mars.
Yeah,
But
they're
again,
doing that.
I feel like for the last year that we've had too, just a completely appropriate name for a Martian robot, Perseverance, now on Martian soil, and just like I never want this stuff to feel routine or
or
pedestrian, because like just because we're starting to get a little bit better at it, it still doesn't take away from the incredible amount of work, the talent that it requires, and just what an amazing example of our various scientific communities coming together to accomplish something and to make it look good while they're
exactly.
doing it.
And they're all like sitting there. They're like, wearing, man, they're just hanging out. It's like another day at the office. What are you doing? We're landing.
And I love the physics of it. I mean, it's like, so we can get a little taste of that in some science fiction, like in The Expanse, but like, there what was it? It was like a 5-minute window where we were sure that Perseverance was on Martian ground. We had no idea if it had landed safely, though. I mean,
yeah. The way they communicate, I think if I remember from the last time they had this, there's a 7-minute delay, if I remember correctly. The last time they made an actual episode called the 7 minutes.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. The 7 minutes of terror. The first time that they landed there, they didn't have any input into what's going on. So there was like quiet for 7 minutes. And now, obviously, they had more. I think at one point, if I remember correctly, I saw somewhere where they kind of lost, they lost a little bit of communication, and then it came back, and there was like that suspense. It's like natural, movie level suspense. You're at the edge of your seat, but this is real life. This is total IRL, not a Scorsese or a show.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, no, and I think from what what they're trying to do with this mission is also a major accomplishment. The level of the type of work they had so JPL. I don't know if you guys are familiar. So we live here in Southern California, so JPL is a big part of our environment here. They have. And this was before the pandemic, by the way, just for reference kind of thing. They had an event at the actual on lab, what they called the lab there, and they let people come in and they visit. You can buy, you can raffle off tickets and get on. And they showed us an actual show talking about what the intention of this mission. It's like a part 1 of 3 missions that are supposed to basically bring samples back to Earth for scientists to do some work on them. That was the whole purpose of it.
Yeah.
So to see it actually land, and now that the mission is starting to go, so like phase 1 of this Martian sample return, kind of a whatever they calling it, and it's going to basically take like little tubes of specimens and drop them on the surface of Mars, and then another mission is going to go to pick it up, and like seriously, like
but just how the way that this happens, and again, it's like. I was raised on two generations of Star Trek, and it makes space travel seem so safe and so sanitary. And what's so critically exciting here is not just the conversation. Oh, we're going to get some samples of dirt off of Mars. We're creating the infrastructure to travel and bring things back. I mean, just the amount of work that requires, and how difficult that is, and just how fraught with peril. I remember it was a couple years back. There was the company that was going to try and make a one-way trip. We're going to send people to Mars. There's no way we're going to be able to bring you back now.
Yeah. It's Matt Damon all the way.
Well, but what I love is like, no, that's not okay. The way that we have built our space program, it's not. We're going to send you out there for a suicide mission just to say we could. We're going to try and create this system. We're going to try and close the loop. If we send something out there, we're going to try and get it back.
Exactly.
And these are our first steps. These are our first steps into actually taking space travel more seriously and considering the human condition along the way and all the things that we'll learn. Every time we make a leap in the space program, it has all of these trickle-down benefits for healthcare, for telecommunications, for education, for just food, diet, and science. Like your body science. Like everything is touched by this, and the investment is incalculable. The returns that we get on this investment are incalculable. So, again, just an exciting day for someone who is always nerded out about this kind of stuff, like. Seeing rocket launches and seeing robots land and seeing those first photos coming back from another world, it still looks like magic to me.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. That it's just like I said, this is fiction. This is science fiction in real life. So that's the exciting part about it, and that fact that again, we're sitting at home, doing our day stuff, whatever, and then we're watching this. And we're basically getting like live feed of that online, and everybody can be basically watching. It didn't matter where you were, as long as you had internet connection and access to type either YouTube, Twitter, whatever. It was broadcasted. You could see it. You could, and obviously you felt of course, the excitement from everybody. But that was kind of like the excitement, because for me it was like literally like that was right after Android 12. What year is this? 2020? Yeah, Android 11.
Right. It's current year.
It's current year. It's Android 11 is back, guys. It's coming back with a vengeance.
just like 2021 is really just seeming to be another repeat of the catastrophes of 2020. Android 11 is back.
Android 11. Yeah, I mean, in case you didn't get it last time.
Well, before we jump into Android 12 news, Aditya Nil is correct. We do need to follow up on Sony Watch 2021.
Yes.
So you have your Xperia. You ready?
I have the Xperia. Yes, let's go.
This week on Sony Watch, has Android 11 made it to the Xperia 1 Mark II?
It would be really exciting if we got Android 12. No, nothing.
No, nothing.
Sorry.
Next week on Sony Xperia Watch, will the Xperia 1 Mark II get Android 11? While I'm actually looking at flashing a pixel to Android 12.
So while I have you on the line, why not? Let's do this guy. Okay.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Where'd you get that? Did you please tell me you didn't buy that?
No.
Okay.
I have a little bit of no. Same here.
Same. Oh, I would assume the Pro would be like
late. Well, I know. I'm just
like way behind.
I am shamelessly plugging in the Xperia Pro, and yeah, that was my shameless plug. Thank you very much, everybody, and I'll see you guys next week. No, I have this unit on loan, because.
Right, you're doing a project with Sony. That's right. You told me about that.
Yeah. No. But I didn't.
I was about to get like angry, jealous, like because no one called me. But no. You're doing a
no. I'm actually. Yeah, I'm actually. I will be part of the B Alpha show next week on the 28th. And Sony was very nice. So they want me to talk about the Xperia Pro, and obviously to be able to talk about it, you have to have it in hand. So it's a short answer. It's a Q&A.
I was excited that they hooked it up with you. I mean, obviously I'm crazy jealous because I want that phone back in my hands. But again, it's the continuing misadventures of me and Sony PR in that I still shoot on Panasonic. And you do shoot legit on Sony, so it makes way more sense for them to reach out to you. Off the Sony ecosystem.
And obviously, I'll be hooking it up to the A7S III.
That's exactly my point. Is like they don't want to send it to me and then be like, "Oh, but here is my Panasonic G9."
So this Xperia Pro works perfectly with the Panasonic.
It'll work
with anything.
You don't need to hook it up to a Sony cam.
Oh, but no. So here's the kicker. Apparently, they're giving out an Alpha 1.
Oh, wow.
So I just saw this on their website, on the Twitters. So the Sony Alpha, so the Sony Alpha account on Twitter just posted that they're going to be raffling off an actual Alpha 1, like the just brand new one, like $6,500, $7,000, whatever body of a camera, will be raffled off to somebody in that show, and I'm excluded from that. So at that point, I just 2 seconds in, I said, "Can I switch out? Can I just switch over to just being an attendant? You guys call the next guy on the list." And then they started to laugh.
Well, let's see. Yeah. #B Alpha live online. Register now to win a Sony Alpha. Okay, I will do that.
See, got one more on the show. We got it done.
You keep hosting this. I'm gonna get in line to try and win one of these bad boys here.
Gosh, got it. Okay.
Because again, I mean, like that would have to be. It would be hilarious though, because I would be the first. I mean, like first in line, just to like point blank. The Alpha 1 is way more camera than I need. I mean,
absolutely.
Grotesque over. You know what I would probably do, and this sounds really crappy. If I were to win an Alpha A1, I would probably sell it to get an A7S III and a lens.
And you'd have some money. Well, no, actually, if you think about it, that's about the price.
No, because I'd really want to go like, well, I'd really want to go sort of like high end, the 2470. That just take it above and beyond
all of that. No, exactly. Yeah. Sony Glass is crazy expensive. So, like seriously, it did. Yeah,
it blew my mind. Again, like this, you rationally know Micro Four Thirds. I like my Micro Four Thirds cameras. They're totally capable cameras. But I'm sitting there and I'm comparing back and forth. I've got a pretty decent 16 millimeter f1.4. It's the Sigma the really fancy Sigma lens.
Mhm.
It's roughly the sort of field of view that you'd get on like a 35 millimeter full frame camera. So I compare that to the A7S III on a 35 millimeter lens at f2.8, and the depth of field is still shallower on the full frame than on my f1.4. I mean, the amount of glass you need to pull off an f1.4 aperture.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and
so it's one of the biggest micro four thirds lenses I own, and it's a prime. Just get like my brain just kinks that little bit. So like if I were rocking a 2470 f2.8, I'd be good. I'd be fine in the gadget lab.
Absolutely. No, I know. I like I said, once I went, when I started to see the benefit between the two, because I have the A7 III that I've used as a secondary camera, and whenever I've gone to shows and events and used it, I have loved the quality of the video that comes out of it so much that I wanted to figure out a way to make it work. I wanted it to become a functional, A camera for me, but I just couldn't get it to run the way I wanted, and the system wasn't running right, and just when the A7S III came out, I was like, this is a godsend. This has to happen. And luckily, I did sell it at a little bit of a loss, but I did, I sold off my GH5 and lenses and did the move, and it's good. So at some point, yeah, I wish you the best of luck, my friend, if you win, because I can't win it. I'll be, it would be funny if, they'd be like, oh, TK, thank you very much for joining us on the show. Your A1 will be in the mail. Okay, thank you, bye. I'll be like, yes. But I am very
you're
honored.
probably hearing me typing a little bit because I'm filling out my event registration right now.
Just make sure you say who referred you. Just say TK Tech Bay. No, just kidding. So that's happening next Sunday. Sorry, I think it's the 28th is a Sunday. So if you guys haven't had a chance to check it out, I highly recommend you guys registering and checking out the event. It's a very nice show. I'm from what I understand, I'm going to be basically about a 30-minute Q&A session going on with the Xperia Pro, this Xperia Pro. And by the way, this is actually a production style. This picks up standard 4G on Verizon. It's not just UW. So I was like, yes.
Oh, you mean the sub 6?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm able to pick up
the 5G.
The 5. Well, yeah, that's what I meant. That was like my biggest thing with the original unit that we worked on. I felt like it limited my function of being able to test it out in my area, that I had to go to Santa Monica to truly be able to test out the full functions of it. Yeah. And it's actually pretty decent on it. And since I have it for about a week or so, I have like a few videos that are back to back that this week is just literally like stacked with videos. Mm-hmm. That probably next week I'll probably focus on that a little bit leading up to Sunday, and
So when you fired that up, have you tried like a T-Mobile or a Google Fi SIM or anything like that? Are you getting sub 6 on other carriers?
I didn't actually try to switch SIMs. A while back, I got a thing from Verizon telling us not to replace SIM cards in their phones, so I wasn't sure. But
and especially before the event, if you want it working, you probably don't want to mess with.
Yeah, so that was my only thing, because otherwise they'll have to send me another unit again. Last time, I don't know if you guys knew that, but the last time when Juan and I had a chance to take a look at the Xperia Pros, I ended up having a bad unit. My first unit was non-functional. It would connect to 4G and all of that good stuff, but from a sense of video input, it was just not working and it wasn't recognizing anything. So they had to send me a second unit, and that cut down on my time of actually having the device before the video started.
There's only so much like rear casing B-roll you can shoot.
I know.
Trying to figure out how to use the phone.
I'll do is
I'll do another one of those like panning and tracking shots.
That's like the Microsoft show, right? Yeah, you'd be like, yeah, what is this? Oh, here you go. This is the part I love. Look. The autofocus.
Yes, it's so fancy. I get it. And Panasonic autofocus can't do anything. Oh, you're so cool. Actually, what I'm really excited though is to catch your the panel that you're going to be running. You're going to be a part of before the pandemic, when the Xperia 1 was out.
I remember you made it to the show. I couldn't make it.
At the Sammy cameras, and like the people that they had talking about like content creation and film production and moving back and forth. Like here we've got a Sony Venice camera, and here we've got a phone that also reproduces the color science of a Venice camera pretty accurately. And you're like, that's insane.
It is.
So that their conversation really does strike more pro. I'm hoping that we'll get one of these in person the end of this year, or hopefully early next year.
I hope
because
so.
when Sony talks optics and when they talk about photography and they talk about video, it's a legit conversation. It doesn't feel like, well, if you install a third party app, you can get control over your shutter speed. I mean, it's like
No.
they at least take that audience a bit more seriously than just maybe a vlogger might want to use this. Have you seen the vlogs? Have you done vlogging? That's the nifty thing. I
wouldn't be surprised if somebody actually goes up and say, so great camera, does really good things, but how is it at vlogging?
When is Sony gonna get after that front-facing camera so that I can video chat better? You're like,
yeah,
we don't.
I want AR. I want AR emojis. That's what I want. I am interested.
You glue a mirror to the back of your phone. You'll use the good camera because we're Sony.
Or you could just totally geek out the way I did and hook up an Xperia Pro to an Xperia Pro with an HDMI and input to it, because that's
you just put it into like an infinite loop. Like instead of Kception, it's Xperia Proception.
Totally. Why not just double down on a $5,000 Xperia Pro camera setup and go total mobiles? Don't even have to worry about it. Just run it, circle it, go, do it.
That's so. It's so ridiculously unnecessarily cool.
Absolutely, it is. And that's why I did it. I was like, there is no point. There's no reason. Nobody would ever do this unless and I felt like even though I had a broken one, it didn't do the input, but it did output very fine out of the USB-C. So I'm like, run that to the second, run it as a setup. So that's the exciting part. I'm looking forward to the end of February on that part, and time is very quickly coming close to that. But yes, you said you were going to be. Did you download Android 12, or are you doing it?
Oh, so here's what's messed up. I don't want to use my 4XL because I'm going to be going back to look at Android 11 performance. I kind of want to do a longer term follow up, so I don't want to be on the beta for that. And also, I really just like keeping my Pixel 5 as a backup phone.
Oh, so I didn't even do it on my Pixel 5. Yeah, I wanted my Pixel 5 to stay.
An expensive phone to talk about as being my weekender, but for all the time that I spend with my chunk of a V60, it's just so refreshing popping over to the Pixel 5 and just running that. It's so
absolute beauty,
so easy, especially like hitting a grocery store, because even the thumbprint scanner using smart lock and having to swipe on the screen, like Pixel 5 is just so much better for that. So I'm going to fire it up on a Pixel 4a.
Oh, same here. Yeah. That's what I did.
I haven't fired up my 4a in a while. So right now it's updating the last two updates on Android 11.
I think February 5th was the last Pixel update that we got.
And I've got to get it to that point first, and then I'll be able to start. So I'm hoping.
I like the big Chungus V60.
Big Chungus V60. Oh, that phone is a tank of a beast of a monster of a phone.
Exactly.
My issues with the Panasonics we're going to be talking about, but no, I'm really looking forward from the start of 5G and the transition from Android 10 to Android 11. I don't see a lot that's going to wow consumers. I don't think anything is going to come so sexy, so impressive. Oh my gosh, my phone does something that I never thought it could possibly do. I am getting so silly stoked for these under the hood improvements. I really want to see how far Google can take Project Mainline over the course of this next generation. See if we can kind of clean up some of those disparities. I don't know about your phones, but I know mine have been getting Google Play updates way more aggressively.
A lot. It's surprising how they're very much leveraging Google Play updates now over OS updates, which I really feel like that's the future that they're trying to move forward with, is literally leveraging, core app, core experiences updates through the Play Store, which in a weird way, if you think about it, it makes the Play Store even more important as a factor of having GMS on your devices. So I understand the power play they're doing. Obviously, it's a one-way ticket, just basically making us very dependent on it. But I like the incremental updates. And yes, I even see on our TicWatch, I don't know if how often you see, we get more Google Play Store updates on the TicWatch than we get as far as, like, I'm still waiting like you are for MR2. After our last conversation, I actually switched back to the TicWatch because I was using the Samsung Watch for a couple of weeks.
But tell me that last little system update,
dude,
it's so much nicer.
This watch, I have not been surprised as much about a smartwatch like I have with this one. And every time we get an update, every time they put in anything, it's just consistent. And I get a solid two to 2.5 days, depending on how many exercises I do.
I can get 3 full days, not 3 full days and nights, but like 2 days and nights and a day consistently on a single charge.
Oh yeah, so I get a solid 48. But if I'm working out, like if there's a workout, so essentially like running, weights, and all of that stuff, because I like to track my activities and I launch those.
Oh, for sure, me too.
And that tends to eat up a little bit more on the battery, but
a little bit more. But now, because I'm breaking in the Mobvoi treadmill,
dude, how do you like that?
It's okay. I need to figure out how to adjust and oil it properly, because the instruction sheet that I got, all of the images were like just none of the images came out. Like you can kind of see like sort of the ghosty, foggy shape of a treadmill, but I can't see what they're doing in the instructions. So it's a terrible printout. So I need to dig into that. It is so handy having something that I can just like shove under a couch and then pop it back up and just get some walking done without having to like get all fully set up to go outside. So because of that, and I was hitting my exercise bike a little harder because I'm not hitting the GPS. The watch battery is still holding on 2.5 days. I mean, like 50 some odd hours of actual runtime. It's incredible.
It's that hybrid display tech that they have. It's really nice. It really saves the power whenever, unless you want it to turn on, you don't actually activate it, and it stays on into that hybrid, into the top layer display. So I really like it. And my only thing, honestly, I would have wished is that the treadmill doesn't connect to the app. That was my only thing. Like, why can't we just get the treadmill, like get some metrics running into the app,
right,
and make it part of the TicWatch? But did you hook up your Bluetooth speaker yet?
No, I haven't. And again, because like when I work out, I'm usually on, because it's living room, and Marie's workspace is just right off the hallway now. So that's actually not something I'm really going to test. Like I'm going to fire it up just to see how it works, but it's not really something I'm going to use because the only time I set it up for the speaker is for my son on his tablet. So that works best for us because I don't want him to have headphones and wires and all of that stuff. Sure. So he puts his tablet on there, he hooks it up to the speaker, and it's actually loud enough that you can actually hear it very nicely. I mean, even though it's a mono speaker, but you know, I like I like the little touches. The remote works really nice. And like you said, stowaway is a breeze. It's not heavy. It's built very nicely. And you are actually like literally like 95, 96% assembled. If you don't want to put the arms, you're ready to go. Just take it out, plug it in, and go. So, just the whole sort of side update experience. Across Google, like I think this is where we could say Google deserves sort of a most improved award, but especially as it pertains to Android 12, this is coming directly from the Android developers Google blog. We're continuing to expand our investment in Google Play system updates, Project Mainline, to give apps a more consistent, secure environment across devices. In Android 12, we've added the Android Runtime module. Those updates are not going to be OTAs anymore. I mean, they're going to be Google Play system OTAs. They're not going to be wrapped up in your manufacturer's ROMs anymore. This lets us push updates to the core runtime and libraries on devices running Android 12. We can improve runtime performance and correctness, manage memory more efficiently, make Kotlin operations faster, all without requiring a full system update. And we've also expanded the functionality of existing modules. For example, we're delivering our compatible media transcoding feature inside an updatable module. So that's another one of the Android 12 updates is transcoding for different phones, supporting different video and photo.
So transcoding when you're actually exporting data from your phone. So now whenever you plug in your device into the smart, like into your PC with a USB-C, so you see basically, file manager or file access or, charging, whatever. And at the bottom is a transcoding option for media transfer. So yeah,
which is
There-
handy. And
it-
when updates come to that, it's
Mhm.
not going to be manufacturer dependent. So again,
as
more
long
pieces
as
getting
they don't
carved out.
fiddle with it too much. We have to remember
Well,
this is the vanilla. This is the base of the cake, right? What we're looking at right now is the flavor that everybody's going to be playing with, and they're going to be making their own version of the ice cream cake.
There will definitely be variations on a theme. But what I think we've seen is, I feel like there's been sort of a manufacturer's reluctance to get too in the way of some of these policies. And also, I mean, like, whether or not you're concerned about antitrust and the EU's policy on Google's App Store, if you try to get in the way of mainline, then you just don't get access to Google Play services.
Yeah.
Like, moving forward, every device, isn't it like every device moving forward, Android 11 installed natively has to support this more.
I thought it was, I thought it was Android after March. I think it was after March that every device, any new device release has to have Android 11's implementation of, I think it had to be Android 11. I don't think it was Android 10. I think it was with Android 11.
Well, and again, what we're talking about with mainline, I believe, is starting this year with devices launching with Android 11 pre-installed.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that was after March of this year. So there's a little bit of I think it was beginning of next month.
So, you can try and fight the policy as much as you want, or you can try and make your own sort of unique flavor of Android. But those components that we're really excited about getting, security updates, bug fixes, the core underlying skeletal framework of Android, more and more, I want this to look more like Windows. I want it to look more like iOS. I want it to look more like, the direct software coming from the company that legit makes the operating system that we're all kind of pinning everything to. So again, I don't think anything that I've seen so far in the messaging on Android 12 in this very, very early developer preview is
super
consumer facing exciting. All of this is phenomenally more exciting on the nerd quality of life backend stuff.
Hence why this is why obviously it's called a developer preview. This is why they're not giving it access to everybody. Installing it is not an easy, check a box saying I'd like to check, opt into a beta. And I think it's the exciting, which is really hard kind of also to show on video, because you're like, well, okay, so trust me when I tell you, there's a lot of cool things going on, but the interface, the UI UX interface changes that we're looking at right now are very minor. And surprisingly, quite a few of the options that they enabled, or at least are looking to include in Android 12, are not enabled or even accessible by default. You'd have to have root or even ADB access. Like the whole UI element that they're trying to, and I don't know, I don't want to call it like one UI, but this whole smooth UX, with the smooth the smooth home. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. I think I have it on my note. Oh, Silky Home. My mistake. The Silky Home.
That's so much worse.
So much worse. Silky Smooth, Silky Home, Silky Android 12. Don't know why I went with that.
That makes me want to go wash my hands or something.
I know. The Silky Home.
It's like saying something's moist. It's such a gross word.
Yeah, I know. Well, even specifically the way you said the word moist.
I can't say it because that word.
Yeah, it just starts. Rolando's in the chat as well, and Gary. Everybody's fired up with us. There's a whole bunch of everybody's just hanging out with us, kicking it. So I'm excited. Like I said, I think the 4A is a perfect device to test this out on.
The only thing that bugs me about Pixels is if I do want to try and show something on Android 12, I can't do screen recording as well with the capture card because Pixels don't have video out. So
no video out. It's one of those, and I tested it out, and I was like, maybe thinking, maybe maybe in the developer preview we'll get no, there's nothing. I think it's hardware disabled, if I'm not mistaken. I don't even think it's a
It's
software.
always going to be, again, because I can't someone who I would really think would do well with the Pixel. I'm
Mhm.
not too bothered that they don't have HDMI output on their phones, but as someone who likes to show off, it's always going to be the critical, like that little pebble in my shoe. Like I want to see this kind of support. I want to be able to do like a desktop mode. I don't know. It's always going to be a bummer. But
Those are the things I was checking. I wanted to check out. I wanted to see if there was any improvements in that experience. Is there any new development in that? Because that was one thing. I mean, there's a lot of optimizations for rollables, foldables, Android, other ecosystems other than just Android the way we normally use it. But short answer, from the early developer preview, at least in the timeline, they also gave us a timeline, which is very interesting. We know there's going to be 3 developer previews, 4 betas, and then a release sometime after August, which I'm expecting to be around the Pixel 6 launch. So whatever the end up being Pixel 6. But so far it looks pretty good. It actually surprisingly hasn't been crashing as much as the developer preview 1 from Android 11 did. It's actually quite stable, but it could also be because by unlocking our bootloader automatically, we lose all of our data. So by default, I'm actually starting fresh.
Yeah.
I don't normally have my Pixels unlocked. OnePlus devices more so than Pixels. I typically unlock the bootloader on OnePlus just for the sake of in case I want to root without having to lose my data. But that was nice.
But I'll be curious to see though, because like the jump from Android 9 to Android 10 didn't feel like a humongous jump, but there was a lot of stuff in the background that did seem to affect performance on older devices. Same thing.
There was
Android 10 to Android 11,
backwards.
we've seen a lot of teething pains. Pixels have obviously weathered it the best, but some early chug on Samsung and OnePlus devices, pushing through on this.
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see, like, if this is a bit more of a refining and then sort of an under the hood update, that hopefully Android 11 to Android 12 doesn't represent as much sort of radical architecture underpinning changes that will affect performance.
Meaning you're hoping not to see a short amount of time where the performance dips down once you go up to the next version of Android, as opposed to where you're anticipating performance improvements.
Or just like if we get a developer preview that runs more stable, then hopefully that means that the upgrade process is going to be a little less intense for devices that are currently on Android 11.
But if history actually kind of plays it out, hopefully in the same manner as we've seen in the past, typically by the time where the first beta releases on the public beta, OnePlus is typically very close right after that, releasing their first developer preview of their next version of Android. So we should be able to start seeing some inkling of what's going on, what's going to happen with OnePlus at least. I can't speak for Samsung because Samsung typically takes for a long time, especially when it comes down to first version or official versions. Yeah. So short answer, if you'd like to check it out, if you have an extra device that you'd like to check it out, definitely don't do this on your primary device. There's a lot of things to go through, and it's hard to just keep your data. Pixel devices are supported, of course, all the way I think to the Pixel 3, if I'm not mistaken. So if you have a 3, 3XL, 4, 4A, 4XL, 4A 5G, there's a lot of, that's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot. But again, exciting, cool things. The leaks, though, that we saw last week, that potential leak images that we saw last week, apparently did not turn out to be part of this yet. That was the surprising part for me.
Well, but again, this early stage of a developer preview is very rarely the UX, UI, big consumer facing changes.
No, absolutely.
So much of this is like API level stuff.
Exactly. And so for that being said, anyways, we will hopefully, maybe we can reconvene in about a week, and maybe see what you thought. Check it out.
I'll be curious to see how some of these proposed media updates happen. The Android is going to be picking up that Sony trick where native to Android, it's going to be the vibration motor augmentation for content. Baked directly into Android is going to be a new profile for multi-channel audio for spatial applications. So that should also give Apple a decent run for their money. I like what they're talking about. Be curious to see how this plays out on mid-ranger and older devices, but their description of how notifications take you into apps and how the phone is going to be dedicating performance and resources to getting you from notification to that app faster could be really interesting, but I'll be curious to see how that actually plays out on more mid-ranger hardware.
Mid-range.
You know, when a device might already be dealing with a more aggressive manufacturer's skin, and there's a different protocol from Google for getting you into a third-party service from a notification. That's where I always get worried that like Google's version of this on a Pixel is gonna run like butter. Samsung A50 is gonna chug.
Yeah, it's definitely it's gonna have its own challenges, and like you said, we're a little bit early. The other concern that we're looking at obviously is when will devices get Android 12? Because the reality of the matter is there's a lot of. I mean, I posted a video maybe a few hours earlier.
We're under 2% for Android 11. I mean, we haven't broken 2% yet.
People are still waiting for Android 11, and like when I'm thinking about OnePlus and stuff like that, OnePlus released their Nords with Android 10, not 11. So, and they only give you a one version upgrade. So Nord realistically is trying to catch up to that one extra update that they're going to get, because they just pushed out I think it was a security patch update. But so we'll have to see how mid-rangers perform with that when we start seeing devices come out with it. So we're looking obviously at 2022. We're not really looking. I wouldn't be imagining seeing a mid-ranger with Android 12 till at least maybe Q1, end of Q1, maybe Q2 of 22, because that's when probably.
And I would ask if anyone has a prediction in the comments. My prediction is we'll see a purpose-built Android 12 mid-ranger before we see any mid-rangers get updated from Android 11 to Android 12.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. It more than. Yeah, I'm willing to put money on that. That is for sure. Because the reality,
there's going to be a dozen Nokia launches, and I won't be able to keep up with any of them.
Between Nokia and Xiaomi, the frequency that Xiaomi puts out devices, and surprisingly, the Mi 11 is still surprising me. I'm loving it. Even though I don't get 5G on it in the US, it still works really nice. And speaking of which, I will be putting the S21 in the mail tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
I'm bad at this. It took me a few days, and
I'm going through this like slate of lifestyle tech. So I mean, I'll be stoked to play with the S21 and tell everybody why they shouldn't buy it because Samsung. But it's no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm still.
No, I want to see what you think as well.
A video on that router. I really want to cover the treadmill. I
didn't pull the trigger on the router, by the way. I know you were going to ask me at some point, but I'll be honest with you right now.
Over there, I just got Mi Audio sent me over a little care package with their Pinnacles, a gaming headset for Lex.
Sound limiting headset. Cool. Yeah.
A little volume controlled headset, and then also there have been a few products like this. I like the way they're implementing theirs. So it's a little puck, and it connects to like a Toslink or an optical cable on your TV, and it sends out a super low latency Bluetooth signal to a pair of Bluetooth cans that you connect. And it gets weird if you have a sound bar, but if you're just connecting directly through the TV and the TV has its own speakers, you set up your own discrete audio channel because TVs don't have this newest version of Bluetooth implemented just yet.
Oh, no.
So you can have independent volume control to a specific designated pair of headsets or to the TV's built-in speakers. So especially if you have someone in your household who's maybe a little hard of hearing and they need to have like the speakers cranked all the way and everyone else in the house can't listen to the TV because it's way too loud.
Exactly.
This has been the best iteration of this idea that I've played with yet. And it's not that expensive. It's like a $50 puck. And all it does is you can connect.
And it connects to the optical out or just
connects to the optical on your TV, and then you can hook up a pair of headsets. So if like you and your loved one want independent volume controls, you just go to your headset and you go doo, 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 and then you're good. And the TV speakers still work independently of that. So I mean, like I've been in this I want to talk about this. I want to talk about that. We were both on the embargo for this new Panasonic, so we had to knock out that video. I'm fine if Samsung kind of take the back seat to all of the other tech that's going on right now.
Oh, dude, speaking of the Panasonic though, come on, Hulkbuster type of, you know, so when I first saw the Toughbook 33, I wasn't sure what to expect, because the last time we looked at one of their PCs, right, it was a very modular PC, right? It was a very different experience than what the Toughbook 33 is.
Mhm.
And uh, this is, I mean, like, I really think like Hulkbuster is truly like the term to describe this piece of, like,
Because it's like there's like an Iron Man armor in another armor,
on
and
top of an
then
armor, and there's a clamp that clamps closer, so you can actually protect yourself on both sides, and every port has a clamp. And I'm like, seriously, the amount of detailed work that was done in this, in the refresh, and the design itself, even if you just want to use it by, like, if you take out because it's a 2-in-1, right? It still has a lot of ports. It still has so much functionality. And this wasn't even the high-end model, and it ran buttery smooth. There was like no question that, this could literally handle anything you throw at it. But it's a Toughbook. It's tough. And have you noticed, I mean, my question would be probably to a lot of people, if you guys ever gone out and you've seen people working in the field, like EMTs, fire department, police officers, or even if you've gone to, like, for me, when I go to In-N-Out, okay, I know it's like a weird thing. The guys over, or the guys and gals at In-N-Out, when they take our order, because they don't wait for us to come up to the window, they walk up the line for us.
Mhm.
They're holding Toughbooks.
Yup.
They're holding it, like, dude. I look at that, and so once I started looking at their PCs and stuff, I start recognizing the tech, and I'm like, that makes sense. That's the hardware that you want. Like, God forbid something like, oops, I dropped it. That tablet is like, the top part of the PC is rated for a 5-foot drop.
Mhm.
Phones aren't rated for 5-foot drops. Let's just say that. It's a tank outside of California. California and Nevada, just make sure, because you remember Nevada has In-N-Out. Cheers.
Isn't there one in Colorado now too? Isn't
They-
there?
Oh, that's right. That massive backup. Remember when that one opened up in Colorado? There was like a massive backup of people, like, as if, they discovered like something, like, we've never had burgers before. This is the first time we've had burgers.
We have
Colorado-
never enjoyed a cheeseburger.
I love me some good bison burgers in Colorado. That's one thing I love about Colorado. They have a lot of good bison meat there. So yeah, you're right. Colorado onto that list. But what I mean, I guess we both put out some videos. We had a slightly different approach to it. I decided to film my introduction on it. Go figure. But what are your impressions? I guess you had it about the same amount of time I think I had it. So it's kind of.
So again, it's and I've got it pulled up if you want to share.
Oh yeah. Please, sorry, I did not see.
We can have another visual aid.
Ooh, look at that.
So first of all, I just want to throw a shout out. All of my outdoor B-roll was shot on
Grass. Sorry.
Yeah, I was shot. I was on grass. No, it was shot on my LG Wing. So all of the outdoor photography was coming from my little LG. It did a really good job catching
the Wing. Oh, dude, definitely the gimbal mode on that thing is really nice.
It was really cool. So Panasonic, it's a little slice of incredible just how overbuilt all of this is, and how I know I don't need it, but I really want to have more of these kinds of features kind of packed in some more mainstream consumer devices. Like if you search for rugged laptops, there's a whole line of Dells. Dell is one of the main competitors to Panasonic in this space, although I think Panasonic has sort of the momentum of their brand reputation for so long supplying this niche. But we don't get to
by the way,
this
part of your video was the amazing part. The puns with the videos.
Right?
I saw that. I was like, yeah. Sorry.
My favorite was the steamroller. It's like, how should I depict a steamroller? Oh, right, Austin Powers. No, we search for rugged laptop, and there are a couple Chromebooks that are more student proof, and then there's also there's an Acer that is got covered ports. It's around $1,000 for your sort of entry level Core i5 model. And it's mildly sort of rain resistant, but it's not really. I mean, I think it's rated like IP53. Someone's gonna have to correct me on that.
Mhm.
But for
It's
$1,000, like that's not bad. It's
yeah.
in playing with the Panasonic. I desperately want easily hot swappable and replaceable batteries. I want those really great locking port covers that are easy to pop open, even if like you might be wearing gloves. All of
And they're
those
meant
little
for that. They're meant for that.
considerations.
They're
Oh
meant to
yeah.
be, when you're wearing the actual, yeah.
Oh, totally. All of those little considerations that kind of add up to being this monster of a system that it kind of outperforms the individual parts that we would normally turn to in a laptop review. Oh, I mean, who would spend this much on a Core i5? And you're like, it's not just this one conversation about processing power. It's I've been on location shoots. I've been out in the desert to shoot movies. I've been on hiking trails where I needed some kind of compute power, and I would have gladly traded, some of the gaming performance of a laptop to have something that was
Better brightness
easier to
level, better
use.
speakers, better
Yeah.
cameras. There's a lot of other things that I think that was the reason why I did the intro on it. I wanted to kind of show that they've done actually some
You
improvement.
could shoot video of it out in bright California light with the screen on and see the screen.
And see the screen. That is that's a very big difference between that and whatever laptop because I got a comment, somebody mentioned to me that, like, you don't really need this. I'm a professional. I do all of that. And I realized, I said, this is not for everybody. This is intended it's a niche type of product, right? It's intended for a specific audience. It's for a fleet, for companies to be deployed. But if you are, like you said, in this situation, you're outdoors, you are an outdoorsy type of person. That's the type of hardware you want. You want to be able
glad I got a couple people like you saying like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, like for the military, I guess. I got a couple people that were saying like, hey, I bought a refurbed CF53 or a 55, and I got it 5 years ago, and I'm still able to find parts for it, and I'm still able to find batteries for it. And I've been able to keep it running, and these things last forever. And so one person even said, like, he shot me a private message, and he was like, I had to clean out the fan, but my Toughbook is now almost 10 years old, and I still take it out because it's the machine.
I got that last year as well. There was quite a few people that we, in the market of buying like secondhand and used hardware. But it's the longevity that Panasonic puts into it. It's the fact that they work at making sure that the parts for their computers are available and that they're sourced in a manner where they're able to keep using them or providing replacement parts for up to 10 years, like you said. And that's the beauty of it.
But that also means you've got to front load some cost. I mean, that's why a Toughbook brand new right out the gate is a significantly spendier investment than like a really nice gaming laptop. But it's because you're going into that saying, I have an expectation. I have an expectation that this machine is going to go 2 to 3 times longer than this gaming laptop investment in much more challenging conditions. And when you see a product that's kind of purpose built with a philosophy, with an ideology for that, it's exciting, because I feel like we get so caught up in this consumery disposable electronics conversation that we forget that, making the thinnest, cheapest, most portable laptop is one kind of convenience, but it also represents its own compromise. And replacing a laptop every couple of years because you can't do anything with it, or you can't fix it, or you can't upgrade it, is a kind of compromise that. So here's the other one I was talking about. There's the Acer Enduro. That's what it's called. So anyway, I'm just always taken
about $1,000. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, actually, maybe a little closer to 1,100. But I'm always taken with Panasonic gear just because it's such a unique. It's such a unique ideology. It's such a unique philosophy to make a piece of electronics that I wish we had more of in the consumer space. I wish we had access to this at, maybe not as overbuilt, maybe not as military grade, but incorporating some of these ideas at like the $2,500 price range could also be really exciting. I'd really enjoy that.
I love the fact that they listen to their user base, that the updates that they've done here is not just a generational upgrade, but it was also inputs from users. Like the fact that they actually put thought into the cameras on this because they realize people like they realize people shoot video with these things, or
and
they're
not
in
just that
conference calls.
they wanted to. I mean, that's actually now become such a driving force in mobility for industrial use is
Exactly.
having
On the
and
field and being able to have, I mean, it has 3 sensors, right? There's the top camera, there's the QR code at the top, and we're showing the replaceable batteries. I think somebody was asking, Vasicos was asking about hot swappable. Definitely.
sexy.
Hot swappable batteries, just to be able to, it's I know it's foreign. We don't know about this with smartphones. They don't have replaceable batteries. This has not only hot swappable batteries, but the batteries that we had in the review units that we were checking out, or the standard model, they have extended batteries. So imagine that there is additional options.
We had the little batteries. And
I know
we had really well long lived.
Absolutely. My favorite way of using it, by the way, was to take out the tablet, switch it out the other way, close it, clamp down with the keyboard attached to it, because I get to still have access to all of the ports, because the SD card was on the keyboard. That was the reality of what I was trying to say. I was trying to use, like, basically I would choose some video, take the SD card, put it in there, transfer it in, or take content off the laptop and stuff like that. So it's exciting. Like I said, it's very nice to see what Panasonic is doing and what they're trying to innovate and move forward. It is a business type of a purchase. I couldn't even get a price from them on my end when I was trying to ask. I was like, how much? And they're like, this is a B2B product. This, they can try to purchase it for their companies, and it's right there. You can see it right there in the picture. It's a beautiful piece of hardware, and you're coincidentally wearing the same hat.
Yeah.
It's not a purse. Jam. It's not a purse. It's definitely not a purse, right?
Well, but I mean, like, we can look at what, like, the previous generation 33, the tablet just by itself was roughly $3,300. And this is just the initial launch on this refresh for the 33. So I don't feel like there's any retail channel just yet. This is like, it's probably going to be set up with law enforcement in the military first. And once a generation of it has been sold to those channels, then I think we'll start seeing it open up for anyone who might, like, any civilian who might just want to buy it on their own. I'd be very surprised if this tablet started at under $39.99.
I would be surprised. I
kind of feel like it's going to start there, and then the keyboard dock is going to go higher from there.
Oh, and speaking of the keyboard dock, there was actually apparently 3 different docks. We didn't get a chance to play with the other 2, but the one we have obviously is the most, let's say, ruggedized from the they explained. And then they said they have another one that's more rubberized, but much better sealing for any kind of liquids or any issues, kind of like for outdoors.
Yeah, I was asking them about that, because the one that we have has that redesigned port cover for the charge, the barrel charger. And it does not look as splash resistant as the last generation of the 33, which had the normal, like, click pop out cover as opposed to the slide cover. So this one, that to me, is the one, like,
a little bit of a weak point.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, if you don't perfectly lock that sliding door, then you're not going to get.
And you end up having 2 of them, by the way. Keep in mind that you have one on the actual tablet itself, and then there's the one down at the actual
because the
keyboard.
one on the tablet does have the traditional like floppy locking port cover, as opposed to the sliding one. The sliding one doesn't look as sort of dust and water secure to me.
And I think that's why the way the gentleman explained it to me, it's basically that there was a more water dust resistant one, and I'm not going to explain the example he gave me, because it was a little bit it's a little bit gory, but yeah, he said that was the reasoning why that one was more maybe suited for EMTs. Let's just say that
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And maybe he was just worried that if he gave you that one, that you and Omar would have, like, taken it swimming or something like that.
We would definitely take it out. Like, I wanted to do, I totally would have loved to do, like, a 5-foot drop test with it, and just to see if any panels come off.
What I asked them, I want you to follow up too, and I want the 2 of us to do, like, a Mr. Rogers virtual field trip. When the last time I went to Shenzhen, I got to see an Oppo manufacturing facility, and you get to see their QA testing, where it's just dozens of machines taking individual phones, and, like, here's how we test against flex damage in your pocket, and here's how we drop dozens of phones off the assembly line in different orientations, and here's our giant tumbler. It looks like a bingo ball like tumbler, and they just throw phones in there.
Huawei had a very similar. So I didn't visit Oppo when I was there. I visited the Huawei factory, and we saw.
Because Panasonic is making military grade devices, you and me need to go see like a Panasonic
manufacturing system.
Yeah, yes. that needs to happen. So I'm going to hit him up. I want you to hit him up, and then
we'll make it.
I want to go like Mr. Rogers' cardigan. You know, it's like that video. Here's how crayons are made. It's like here's how we industrially test, and destroy dozens of Toughbooks. Come as we explore the wonders of manufacturing. I need to see what that looks like.
We need to see the field testing. Exactly.
Well, because they were saying like it's not even just a 5-foot drop, that they take one unit as their baseline and drop it on every surface. Yeah. Before they have said we are 810G. In most manufacturing, to classify for 810G drop resistance, you just need to drop one device on one surface, and then you can take that device and put it away and get a new device and drop it on another surface. And for Panasonic, they're saying, no, we
all on one.
Every single drop on every single edge.
That's the level of testing that, that tells you that exactly. Like I said, I mean, there are videos online of people driving their cars over older generation Toughbooks. This is seriously, if you've ever wanted to see, laptop attempts to try to destroy a laptop kind of video, just Google Toughbook. Just type in Toughbook and just go through the myriad. I Googled it last time when I first got my hands on last year with the first the Toughbook that we had last year, and I was just absolutely surprised. And I even got some people reaching out to me later, and they're like, "Hey, if you're selling this, I'll be more than happy to buy off of you." And I'm like, "It's not mine. It's not like we get to keep it." Yeah,
not a Toughbook. And also, I'm like, again, there's so many. Like, I want it so bad. I do want to keep it, but there's nothing I'm doing right now that warrants me rocking.
There could be that new channel that Juan Carlos, some gadget destruction guy.
No, the gadget porn channel I've always been talking.
Totally
destruction channel I've been wanting to make. No, it's more like I just think about when I was really doing a lot of field and location work. Yeah. Like when I was a sound supervisor, and I did a Western, and like I'm out there with boom mics and
you were in Santa Clarita
team. I was where?
I'm sorry. When you said Western, I always think of Santa Clarita in LA for Westerns because of the old towns that we have.
No, we were actually a little further west of where we're living now.
Oh, okay.
It's if you go north of the vineyards, by Malibu, we were up in the hills out there.
Oh, nice.
Short story, incredibly long. The Video Village, the camera team had multiple people running memory cards, running hard drives, doing backups. Like, if you're hired for sound on a low budget feature, it's like you're the one guy with like a bandolier of wireless lavs and your boom mic, and maybe occasionally they'll give you a PA to hold the second boom mic, but it's all on you. And so at the time I was rocking an old ThinkPad, and it was like, that was like the most durable machine I had, which is pretty good for a ThinkPad.
No, ThinkPads are very durable. Exactly.
But my ability to like run media was very, very limited. The battery life on that old laptop was garbage. So I was constantly like, I've got to find power. I've got to back up this media. I've got to find power. I've got to pop in a new memory card. And it was all on me. And like, I'm walking around with this Toughbook going like, this thing would destroy that kind of use. It would be overkill for that. And I would still feel so much better about the capabilities of being able to work remote out in the field like that, especially just for the batteries. Yeah. Like I'd buy another 2 or 3 individual batteries, have them all
keep them charged up, and you just keep swapping it and you keep going. And that's the beauty of it.
So good.
Absolutely. No, I agree. And I think one of those things, let's try to see if we can make the factory a reality. And
I'm going to start bugging him. I need you to back me up. Like,
no,
you want to do this. You need to let us. Give us now. We want Willy Wonka.
We got the golden ticket. We found it inside of our Toughbook. It's there. To answer Aditya, Aditya is having a question real quick. He's saying basically, how many Toughbooks do you think that they manufacture in the range? Do you think it's like around 10,000 or so?
I'd say hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands, yeah, because I think
Makes sense to me.
when you think of deployments for fleets, just think of it in the fleet style, like for law enforcement, for different departments and so on, and they're really their main customers are those. They're not buying it for 10,000. They're buying it for cities, they're buying it for areas, and they're deploying it. And the deployment process that they go through also takes a long time. And that's one of the other factors they put into their development cycle for their hardware. Is that's why you don't see a new Toughbook every year. We're not going to see a 33 updated in 2022.
No.
It's because realistically, the device that they just announced now will take about 6 to 8 months before it gets QA'd and processed through some of these companies to get officially licensed as their hardware to use if they're going to deploy it. And that process takes time. So to Juan's comment is, yeah, between 100,000, if not more, depending on the industry that they're feeding into it. Plus, it's customizable. You got to remember, they have different SKUs, different configurations, different needs. I think our models with a 512, 16 gig i5s, they have an i7 core and with the V Pro processors, up to 1 terabyte and 32 gigs of internal of RAM, which I still think 16 is good. It's way more than most people need. To be able to go up to 32, think about future proofing. They're really thinking of
that was actually kind of an exciting upgrade, because this is, I mean, it's if you've been in gaming laptop land.
Oh yeah,
was it 9th gen Intel that we finally started getting Core i7s and i9s that could support more than 16 gig?
I want to say earlier. I want to say it was
because I mean, like my 7000 series Intel capped at 16, and you were stuck there for a long time where it didn't matter. Like if you were running the hottest GPU, my Core i7 7000 series,
you were maxing out basically 16 gig.
Yeah, the only options we had, even on those UH series processors, were 16 gig, and because I'm running
64 on my desktop right now.
Well, no, but it was on the mobile UHs. So the U series, they never put in the memory bus to get you above 16. They didn't until, and I'm gonna have to look it up, but I want to say it was like the 88. Now I can't remember, but anyway, it's actually been fairly recent. We've had it for a couple years, and if you were on a gaming laptop or a mobile workstation, you could go to town. 32, 64 configurable. It's awesome.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
This is actually kind of a big jump for Panasonic. The last 33 was on that older chipset, that older memory bus. 16 would have been your max, and it probably would have started off in a configuration with 8
with a 16 as an upgrade.
So now this is a welcome entry into the 21st century of computing for the military and for first responders.
Oh, and obviously, I think a lot of us didn't really get it mentioned. It's touch responsive, and it also supports a QHD resolution. So it not only it's a good display, it's a high quality display with pen input and touch input. So literally, there was nothing really I could think of realistically that would stop me from being able to make this like a daily workstation kind of a thing, to take it out and work with it. My hope is that if we're able to go back, to once we do, not if, once we go back into actually doing things outdoors, maybe we can reach out to them and see if we can test it out and do that field trip over and check out their factory. Walk out with a sample.
I'm gonna be so annoying. Like they're never gonna hear the end of me, and
it'll be one of those. But speaking of one of the other thing I wanted to actually check with you though, we didn't get a chance to talk about it yet. But no, not bad news. I actually wanted to talk about what's the best of your week, bro. What's been going on?
Well, I mean, the teases. I mean, obviously, we were both sort of under that crunch of being on embargo.
Absolutely.
So that was definitely a big part of that there too. The Canon 7D video is live on the Patreon, so that's going to go out tomorrow afternoon or Saturday, depending on kind of just timing and stuff. And it was kind of a fun look back, because I even dredged up a bunch of old clips from like movies you may have missed, and some of the photography I used to do for events, and like oh, I used to hopknot with a bunch of famous people. Like just like this photo I took of Werner Herzog, because I went to one of his documentary premieres, and like I went to a concert, an acoustic set, Chris Cornell, and I got this amazing shot of him wrapping up the performance. And so that really like was sort of the trip down memory lane video that I kind of needed after playing with the A7S III, and just what I'm going to do for my photography, and just I need to take these things out of the office more and actually shoot with them. Like they can't just be my YouTube video production tools. I need to find the kind of soul of my photography again, because I used to push these things a lot harder. So that was definitely like kind of the highlight for me, was just going back through my archives. And you're like, oh, I've got some stuff in here that's, oh, I went to the Thor 2 premiere and I was on the red carpet as like one of the influencers with like the Skype team, and you're like, oh, well, I've got this amazing shot of Chris Hemsworth, like he was right there, and you know, like and like he's just looking larger than life, and I took that photo, and this is amazing. So yeah, it's not going to be a huge video on my channel, but it's one of those like storyteller moments that just it's
a good video, regardless if it whatever performance it does or it doesn't do. I feel like it's a video that I would watch just to be able to feel that nostalgic effect, see the excitement that you feel when you're doing the video. That I think there's a big part of us, like we really don't realize that a big part of what people do follow you on or watch your content is because of that connection they feel to you, the creator, your point of view, your preferences. And, you know, like when you ran that blind picture test on your, on your STGQA kind of thing, those are the things that's what people love about it. That's the community that lives around, some gadget guy. So looking forward to it. I'm trying to remember. I don't think I got the notification on the Patreon side, but I will definitely.
I've also been trying to get into that, because like I've been having issues. So the Patreon is its own thing, and it's always been a weird platform. Like notifications on comments get weird, or messages. Like I'll go through and like see like, oh, someone just sent me a message. Oh, I've got like 5 unread messages here, and why didn't I get any notifications on these? The other thing that was sort of the worst of my week, but is now starting to become something that it's just more empowering, was the discovery of how poorly YouTube has been putting in ad blocks on my videos. And so I had to write it up. I did like a little series of tweets. I did a production diary on the Patreon, if you want like kind of a deeper explanation of what was going on and why I was so upset. But yeah, years of videos where Google was waiting the scene transition, the fade out transition that I do in the last 20 seconds of every video, so that I can do my end card and like, my call to action, subscribe. And there's some other recommended videos for you to watch, almost with perfect consistency. That's where YouTube would put an ad block on my videos.
So the algorithm recognizes that transition as a pause, or a natural pause.
The worst place to put an ad block. I do a pre-roll, like say there's a pre-roll ad. Sometimes YouTube will stitch on like a post-roll ad. So no one's watching, or I should say very, very few people are watching to the completion of every single video. It's just normal human behavior. You're kind of skipping off onto the next video. So my stats with YouTube look bad because people aren't going to watch to the last 20 seconds to get to that ad. So I look less profitable to YouTube's algorithm, because like, oh, well, they're not watching to where we're putting this ad break. If people do, then it's going to interrupt my last call to action, where I might recommend another video or get them to subscribe.
Because they're going to have to wait for that, and they may click away from it by that point. Yep.
And if I'm putting those up there, then YouTube's also going to say like, well, look, they're not clicking on any of the cards. They're not clicking on any of his end card stuff. People don't want to watch more of his videos. He looks less popular. YouTube algorithm it seems like every time I dig in just a little deeper on stuff that I feel like this should be easy autopilot stuff for an advertising company like Google to figure out, I am consistently and horrifically disappointed in how stupid those decisions are. So if I upload a 2-hour podcast, YouTube will almost with perfect consistency put 2 ad blocks in the first 4 minutes and then nothing else.
I've noticed
2
that
hours of content
on ours, on the show. Yep.
Let's try and piss off anyone who might watch in the first 4 minutes. If it's a regular produced video, let's put the ad block in the last 20 seconds. Yeah, like there is no well, no, that's just it. It's like it's with perfect consistency. So it's it's by some internal design. The algorithm is completely misjudging like what the viewer behavior might be, and they are with almost perfect consistency and regularity choosing the exact strategies that would piss people off while watching my videos. It's like not only is Google trying to make my channel fail, it's like my trust in them to position ads as an advertising company. I was basically helping YouTube make my channel less watchable.
And I think I saw somewhere where you commented, I think it was on Twitter, where you said you started actually dictating where the ad block. So you have to manually force where the ad is so that it doesn't automatically generate it at the end. I think, wasn't that one of the,
so it becomes another thing that I have to manage manually. Like
as you're updating.
In every minute of my life that is spent babysitting the dumbest stuff on YouTube just to try and present my content in the way that I feel is most appropriate, here's yet another thing that I've got to take control of. So at least the good thing that came out of that was a really wonderful conversation on the Patreon. Adam Dowd dropped a comment that kind of tilted my whole worldview 3 degrees on a potential content strategy. So hopefully we can get that going next month. Just like what came from it and the discussion that came from it. And then the other content creators that I've reached out to and said like, hey, you might want to just check. And Ricky, the YouTube tech guy, he's like, I'm putting out 20-minute videos and they're putting in an ad break in like the last minute. What the heck? And you're like, it doesn't make any sense to put it there. But if you don't babysit this stuff to like the nitpickiest degree, you can almost now perfectly count on YouTube doing this wrong for you.
So based on what you said, also, I actually ended up doing that on myself on my videos. So now as I go through, I don't just let things be on autopilot. I specifically mark my you have to go in there because it doesn't even show it to you. Like when you go in, if you have it on auto, it doesn't tell you where the ad break is. And almost like it moves at some point, but you'd have to literally watch the video from a separate account to get the ads come up, and then you can see the little yellow indicator telling you where the ad is going to be based on where. But on the live streams on the Saturday Morning with Tech, when I look at some of the replays, all of the ads are front loaded. Like seriously, like within the first, like you could see the bar
in the first 5 minutes. Yeah,
it's within the first 5, and that could irritate a few people. I mean, they get they already have to go through ads to
irritate people.
Yeah,
like that's just it. I mean, like it's almost like Google has an algorithm built to piss people off for middle-sized channels.
Yeah,
I mean, like it almost feels by design. And so I went back through every single video that was eligible for ads up until I left my personal channel to work at Pocket Now. And it is with shocking regularity. There isn't any other place that Google would list where ad breaks were going. It was always in the last 20 to 30 seconds of every video I made based on that one fade, that one transition that I've been using just to kind of cap the end of my video.
By the way, in the comments is saying you need a new fade. You need a new transition.
I need all kinds of stuff like that. You know what'll help is if my videos are more appropriately monetized so I can pay for those things and do them well.
You're telling me the vicious cycle just keeps going, right? It's like, but I eat because I'm sad, and I'm sad because I eat.
Yes. Yes, exactly that. So again, whether or not it really does lead to any better success on YouTube. We were talking offline. I wanted to be doing more longer term follow-ups. I can't trust that content on YouTube. I just can't. There's a strategy that I want to employ for publishing those and then still making them accessible, but not in a way that's going to tank my channel metrics on YouTube. So again, it's some stuff that I am excited about. That actually did kind of help cap the rest of this week. The best of my week was it took an entire day of wading through YouTube backend monetization SEO garbage to finally get to something where I feel like I can now sort of move forward. And I haven't felt that way for a while. I feel like I've just been this uphill slog fighting YouTube every step of the way. And now I finally think I've got a couple pieces that with a little bit more time, I can now move forward and actually do some cool stuff.
That's so I wish you the best of luck on that one as well. And
it's not going to be easy, but I think I've got the strategy.
My hope is that essentially that the strategy works, and I'm also hoping that the rules don't change mid path of applying the strategy, because
I mean I'll detail it. I mean one of the things is literally taking this out of YouTube's hands. So I want to do these longer term phone follow-ups. They're going to be super casual videos, just mostly talking to camera, almost no cutaways or B-roll. Like I'm really trying to keep these casual podcasty engaged conversations. And so if I do any variant of that on YouTube, my watch time will plummet because they'll be longer form videos and they won't be as slickly produced. There's no way to do it. And so what Adam pointed out was like, why not make them sort of 1 month exclusives on the Patreon and then just open them up as unlisted videos, but public on the Patreon. And none of that is going to mess up my main YouTube channel stats. But if you go to patreon.com/somegadgetguy, there's going to be some free content that you can check out. And if you want to watch it more currently, $1. $1. So again, I mean, like that right there. I mean, what Adam pointed out right there is just like a way to kind of compartmentalize. It's out of YouTube's hands. YouTube does not have control over my destiny for this content. I'm not going to be shamed when I go to my dashboard. Oh, your watch time was down. Little red arrow for you. You should make more trending topics videos. That's how you get popular and successful on our platforms. Screw that. I get to control, and I still get to use their servers to help distribute that video content. and I win. This is better for me. It's better for the audience on Patreon. It's better for people that kind of are interested in this, because we know it's a smaller community of people that really do kind of like to dig in longer term. Great. Win, 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 win. I mean, literally, like there's no downside that I can foresee, and none of it's really going to mess up, like sort of the more trendy videos that I'm trying to put out too.
And I would love to be able to support it in any shape, way, or form. Of course, I'm looking forward to seeing some of those long-term videos.
It's going to be good.
And I like, this is the fun thing. It's if you're enjoying making the content, it gets to be fun. And the fact that we get a chance to check out also some long-term, like the Canon, that's something that, almost nobody would probably go back and want to review it. And it's nice to see. Seeing some updates on devices that, been out for a while, are they still, can they boot Android? That I'm always wondering, what kind of sharp material are they going to be made from, or whatever, You
remember when phones used to be made out of like rusted rebar and bent up razor blades?
The Rebar one. Yeah, I remember that one.
The Rebar one. That was a terrible phone design. That was the worst phone design.
Definitely. But it was a great grenade, in case you're playing Call of Duty.
Right. If you disliked young children, that was the best product to like hand to a child or throw at a kid at the park.
And let alone boot Android.
And like in a bad way.
Let's make the Rebar one a thing of the past. Let's just keep it in the past.
For sure.
For me, this week has been a little bit. So I was very excited as well with the Toughbook 33. That was also a big thing. we finally, so the big best of my week this week was the fact that I was able to solidify the agreement with Sony on this.
I'm really stoked for you on that.
So
dude. It is such a good fit to be chatting with Sony on something like that.
And it was just like, and the biggest thing that I like, I mean, so for everybody listening to this, the big piece about this that I was very happy about is when they first reached out to me, I said, are you reaching out to me as XDA or are you reaching out to me as TK? Because if you guys don't know, I started talking to Sony through XDA, but this was totally TK, the guy that uses an A7S III as his camera, that podcasts that uses Sony. I mean, and if you, because you haven't, once you got one of these days when I have you over in the office, I'm actually Sony everything now. Which I wasn't an intention, but
it just sneaks up on
it like small, like I consistently keep looking for ways to augment and make things better. So short answer, they reached out, we worked out a deal, and I get to play with this guy for 2 weeks extra that I didn't have the first time, with an actual retail unit. So that was the other part. So next week I want to focus on a few videos focusing on the Xperia Pro, talking about it, and I also want to kind of talk up the event. I want to see how many people would be interested to check it out. I mean, they're putting a really nice prize, if anything, that like just sweetened the pot there. If you've ever considered it, if you're looking to maybe potentially a chance of winning this, check it out. It's a free event.
Or don't. I mean, if I win it, that's probably better for everybody.
I see how he's narrowing it down. But
what I need is a fourth camera system in my office right now. So
you need that 45. You have the main, the top, and then you got the angle. Right there. It's what it is. The Sony the Alpha A1. So short answer is I wish this was an in-person thing, because I would love to be able to go up and maybe hold the camera and see, maybe take some pictures with it, just kind of get the feel with the camera. But we'll see. So it's all online. It's going to be exciting, and we'll see. We'll talk a little bit more about it, of course, next week, as we're getting closer to the event. So,
do you know who you're doing your workshop with? Are you going to be with another creator or?
No. So I'm going to be with one of their techs. So there's going to be a technical person that's going to be with me, working with me on some of the more detailed technical questions if we need to get into those. But it's mostly, my understanding, at least, the intention is to do basically a hands-on and a feature walkthrough of what makes the Xperia Pro a Pro. Why is this a tool that a professional should look into? And how does this augment any of the obviously, how does this augment using an A7S III, an A7 III, or even any of the other alpha cameras that Sony has to offer? So, but I feel like the biggest part for me here is the influence of the Alpha team over the camera sensor setup on the back, which we didn't get to see with the original Xperia. The Xperia 1 was very much more focused on the display panel. The cameras weren't necessarily the biggest driver part. The fingerprint sensor was a little bit slower than most of the ones. It got better with Android 10. So when we went over to the Xperia 1 Mark II, which this little guy is based on, it truly has the benefit of the Alpha team. So it was a perfect combination. So when she said, it's part of the Alpha stuff, I'm like, absolutely. This is Alpha through and through, with the exception of the front-facing camera.
Oh, for sure.
Actually, or maybe including the front-facing camera. It's an Alpha through and through.
Well, yeah, because it's probably a better front-facing camera on the Xperia than you would get on an Alpha.
Exactly, because there isn't
one.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I know.
The other person I would shout out. So everyone needs to catch your. I mean, as soon as you've got times, please start sharing them so that we know when to set aside your workshop. Someone who I very much enjoyed at that Sammy Cameras Sony event, Miguel Quiles, did this incredible workshop on single lighting portraiture. Okay. So in any kind of lighting condition, in any type of shooting situation, how you might be able to sort of light dramatically with
one light type of yeah.
And again, just incredible work. But he's done a couple, and he's going to be doing his workshop is at 3. One project, 3 devices integrating the Alpha, the FX, and an Xperia into a single shoot. is the name of his workshop, and his YouTube channel is great too. I think he's about to break 100,000 subscribers, but he's like legit more a pro photographer, less a YouTuber. So I really like his work too.
Miguel Quiles. I'll have to check him out. Yeah, like I said, I'm just happy to get my picture up there.
Yeah,
90% of the work done.
I don't. I mean, like again, if you want to screen share me, hold on. I'll do this right here because I feel like you need this here. Come on, let's do it. There we go. Hey, look at that guy. Look at that guy right there.
Look at
That's
that.
The guy.
Look at that. Oh my God. When they put my picture up there, I was like, oh my God. I sent this to everybody in my family. I'm seriously, there's no way to explain it, giddy on many levels.
Looking real good. So again, Miguel's down here. Definitely catch his workshops too. But this right here, #1, that's like you're like the lead presenter. You're like the first one. You're like the most important.
Because I was the last person added. It looks like I'm the top. So yes, I'm going to be leading everybody.
I think they went alphabetical order, but that was the correct order.
Yes, it is always. You start with the beard, you go with the beard. If you notice, nobody else has a better beard. I mean, maybe the guy in the middle, Andy, I think was Andy. Maybe
I mean, Andy's got like a good hey, I go outdoors a whole lot.
I'm in the woods.
Miguel has kind of like the same facial hair distribution that I've got, where it's just I'm too lazy to shave.
Yeah. No, it's a very exciting show, and I'm again very, very excited, and there's a couple more meetings going on. There's like the prep meetings and stuff like that. So like seriously, that was the biggest part, and of course, getting this guy back in the office was also very nice. So this weekend, definitely going to be taking this guy out after the Saturday morning with Tech Show, and I need to kind of start pushing out some more videos. I was actually very productive this week, which is surprising. I thought this week was going to start off on the wrong foot, because I didn't do anything on Monday, and then Tuesday I was kind of a little bit late to kind of show up. And was it not Tuesday? I think Wednesday. Your video for the Toughbook went up earlier than mine. I'm not gonna lie and say that I had everything done in time, but yeah. So
it was such a gross scramble. I mean, I was like editing and uploading at like midnight. Just I hate embargoes.
And especially embargoes that are that early in the morning, which because you typically don't have a lot of time with the hardware to start with, and to get everything done at the right level and get everything, all the B-roll, all the pieces that you want and all of that. Yeah, it ends up literally being, and it's even worse for me when I try to do some of these events that are embargoed with like Xiaomi devices.
Yeah,
their embargoes are like 5 a.m., 4:30 in the morning.
Basically just lose a whole day. It's like one whole extra day is just gone.
It's one of those where I usually just say good night. I kiss my wife and my son, put them to sleep, and then boom, and I'm like, all night. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we need an 8K. We need 8K cameras for TK's beard vest, because I absolutely, if I get that that new Sony,
the Alpha A1, yeah,
I'll produce 8K. I'll just do 8K everything now.
I mean, as soon as I switch over to Sony, to me, it's not going to be 8K. It's like I'm going to start shooting all my videos 4K 120.
Oh, you're gonna spoil people. You're gonna basically like
I just want this to be as obnoxiously liquidy as I can possibly make it, because again, it's like it drives me nuts when I'm like, oh, look at how fluid this high refresh rate display is on this 24 frame per second video that I've shot. That looks so No. I want to show you like literally every frame drop that this thing might struggle with. And so the only way to do that is to shoot 120. It's going to happen.
And it'll be shortly, right after that, you'll be basically upgrading your PC to handle the 4K 120 processing power.
I bet you, because I do like the main videos 4K 60. I bet it probably isn't going to be that much more overhead. I mean, the render times will probably double.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not even talking render time. I'm talking scrubbing, editing, the workflow on the timeline. That's mostly what I was referring to.
And I am still on a 2080, so that might actually start cooking my graphics card. But I bet you I could. I bet you it wouldn't be too bad.
Should be fine. Well, we'll have to see. Let's get you winning the camera, and then we'll talk more.
Done. I mean, as long as we're all decided that I'm winning the camera. I mean, I feel like that's the most important part.
Oh, the decision can. Yeah, we've made the decision. Like I think about an hour and a half ago. Well, now we just need to will it into existence. Decisions.
It's what is it? The secret. You just put your positive thoughts out into the universe.
You make it happen, man. Make it happen. You're gonna wake up tomorrow morning and they'll be like, Juan, we don't need you at the show. You got the camera.
Like we decided to just send it to you early. Congratulations.
Oh man. But yeah, so that was, I mean, I hope you guys found some of our subjects today, I would say interesting, entertaining. Again, today landing on the landing of the rover on Mars was such a big event.
So cool.
To even just basically be part of. And like I said, for me, the big part about this is I actually took my son to the show at JPL.
Nice.
So he saw the big presentation. He knows what the rover's trying to do, all the sample returns and all of that good stuff. So to me, it's just crazy to imagine that, he has some part of memory in him that reminds him that he was on the lab where this hardware was built, and then he got to see it land, and it's all over the news. So
that's cool.
Total bonus points on my end. I totally did it right. So yeah. I want to say thanks to everybody. Hope you guys are doing great. I really hope you guys are having a great time. Thank you for hanging out with us this late. A second episode, actually not bad. Not bad. We actually have graphics now, which
doing great.
Big nice. You guys hopefully, well, did we have the logo last week? We did. We got the logo right before the show.
What we got this week was the intro timer.
The intro timer that we got in there, and we're getting kind of settled in our own. Oh, and speaking of which, the audio podcast is up, my friends. Let me see if I have the link opened up. I wanted to share the screen.
Oh, I think I might have closed my window. Hold on. If you go to it's not the best URL, best-of-our-week.pinecast.co. So
you could you could, I'm just gonna say, like, you couldn't have done it. But let me see. Can I grab it? Here it is. And boom, boom, boom. Here we are. So I think I got it. So here we have episode 9, episode 1, and then hopefully we'll have our episode 10 coming out very soon. So if you guys haven't had a chance to check it out, we are official. We are there. We are listed.
Yep. I mean, this needs a little sprucing, but we're on it, and this should start showing up in your favorite podcast catching services. So
coming to an iPod near you. And I'm just kidding. Do they make iPods? No, they made them a few years ago. So with that being said, I want to say thank you for everybody for hanging out with us. Thank you to Aditya Vasikos, of course, Gary the Fireman, EI1980, Sabaho Man, Gary the Fireman, of course, and everybody hanging out with us. We look forward to seeing you guys again. But for the most part, I want to say again, thank you for the support, and actually we're getting us to about like 72 subscribers. I'm surprised. Who knew people like to listen to us? Late on Thursday nights. But with that being said, be safe, take care, and we'll see you guys next week on another episode of the best of our week. It will be episode 11 with a little bit of a prequel to my show on Sunday on B Alpha. So
yeah, it's gonna be
good. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.